You are welcome back to HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. While R. Kelly's case is not the only one of its nature, there are certain unique surrounding factors which make it special and in many ways different from other cases we have seen before, and most especially when it comes to the way it was charged. The government has done all it can to link R. Kelly's legitimate music business to the charges against him, attempting to link the two while suggesting that the R&B King used his celebrity to lure and recruit underage girls into being with him in ways that are not permitted by law. The government is cunningly tying his music career to allegations of abuse in ways that simply don't add up. One may wonder why government is so interested in achieving this so badly to the extent of embarrassing themselves when they brought false accuser Lisa Van Allen to the Chicago stand, to try and link his case to some of his former employees in a move that saw government dismiss the obstruction charges. The reason they are doing this is because this is the only way they can bring up accusations from decades back into the mix, even if it's illegal after their statutes of limitations were already expired. Introducing the RICO charges sort of allows them to talk about past events, and this way they were able to illegally sneak them into their rather confusing indictment. The RICO charges, as we have mentioned before, are completely alien to the case against R. Kelly and were only concocted to suit the narrative, even if they certainly do not apply to the events described throughout the trial transcript. Gladly, attorney Jennifer Bonjean was able to detect this loophole early enough and has since contested these charges with the argument that the government did not prove the existence of an illegal enterprise, and that according to the trial transcript, events described allege that R. Kelly acted alone, a factor which immediately disqualifies the RICO violation charges. There is no RICO without an illegal enterprise, and without doubt, the government prosecutors failed miserably when it came to proving the enterprise. As most of the other charges are technically supported by the presence of the falsely applied RICO violation, this could mean that once the defense team has managed to dislodge these, many other charges will be left hanging with no supporting factor and maybe have to be dropped. The government will no longer have any excuse to speak on charges from decades ago whose statutes of limitations had already expired, and this could mean R. Kelly returning to freedom sooner than envisaged. To understand this better, let's look at exactly how the RICO charges were introduced into the indictment. When it comes to addressing the RICO charges, Bonjean's appeal opening briefs read as follows. The defendant, who is an internationally renowned recording artist, was charged with leading a racketeer-influenced and corrupt organization enterprise between 1994 and 2018. Notice how the RICO simply rounds up events from as early as 1994, ignoring the expired statutes of limitations and a retroactive approach like it doesn't matter at all. It's been 29 years since the year 1994, but with the excuse of the RICO allegations, the government seems to imagine that the time factor does not matter. According to government's accusations, the alleged RICO enterprise is comprised of individuals whose core objective was to promote defendant's music, to recruit women and girls in illegal sexual activity with defendant, and to produce CP. Just how is this even possible? The government carefully twinned the activity of promoting defendant's music with recruiting women and production of CP, as though to suggest that R. Kelly's staff would wake up every day to go to office and send out application letters to women and girls who wished to date their boss, or that they were also involved with these women sexually as a group with R. Kelly in leadership as their captain. This is far from the truth of what really happened. Firstly, there is nowhere within the government witness statements where the women indicate that R. Kelly's staff were involved at all in filming CP. None of his staff is reported to have been behind the camera filming R. Kelly with his girlfriends naked, if this ever happened anyway. Coupling promotion of music business with recruiting girls makes it sound like this was their job description, and that they actually did this, allegations to which there is no proof whatsoever. Worse still, when attorney Jennifer Bonjean addressed this matter in a post-trial motion, New York Judge Ann Donnelly looked uninterested in reviewing her submission and instead rejected it, suggesting the prosecution needed not prove an illegal enterprise. We know that while the enterprise in question may be legal by registration, the same organization should have engaged in criminal activities as an enterprise in order to attract RICO charges. In other words, An enterprise alone without evidence of a chain of crimes committed through it cannot attract RICO charges. And this is probably what the Brooklyn judge misunderstood. She thinks that all she needs to have is an enterprise and crimes committed even though the two are not directly connected with each other. How naive for her to be reasoning it out this way, yet even a 15-year-old who understands simple English can interpret this. The alleged crimes must have been committed through the enterprise, and this was never the case when it came to the allegations against R. Kelly. Even though the alleged crimes are themselves questionable, assuming they took place, there is no evidence to connect them to R. Kelly's music promotions team. These were R. Kelly's private girlfriends and not communal property to be used or abused by the team. And there is no repeated pattern of crimes committed in a sort of group like the judge wants us to believe. According to Lamisha. Indeed, once the false RICO charges are dealt with, R. Kelly has a shot at freedom because it's the biggest contributor to the irregular 30-year prison sentence the New York judge issued. And truly, it's behind this RICO charge that many other charges are sheltered, charges that would otherwise lack background or be thrown out for expired statutes of limitations. With the Department of Justice bent towards the government's side, which created a fertile ground for prejudicial tendencies and false interpretation of the law due to bias, this was bound to happen. A great person in history once quoted that the greatest enemy to justice is a prejudicial jury and judge who already think the defendant is guilty before trial. And this is exactly what R. Kelly is currently dealing with. A broken system that was ready to pounce on him even before the charges were presented before court. Thankfully, attorney Jennifer Bonjean is there to help interpret the law on behalf of the New York judge. If you wish to take part in a live interview discussing any of these topics, let us know by sending an email to sashalfnmedia@gmail.com for scheduling. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.